My next guest here, the former Chief of Staff for Bush 41, former Secretary of Transportation, Sam Skinner. Secretary, very good to have you.
Good, Neil. Nice to be with you.
It's an aside here. I was talking over with my staff after talking to the billionaire investor Ken Fisher that there is a method to the president's sometimes apparent madness when it comes to, you know, having you think he's going back and forth and with abandon here. That there's a strategy to this tariffs, maybe to deal with North Korea and the Chinese. There's a strategy to having you think about whether he's going to reject something he said he would sign, like the spending measure. There's a strategy for this volatile nature of his. What do you think?
Well, it's hard to say. He's obviously very unique in his style, and in this particular case, it maybe he woke up this morning, saw some of the articles and the newscasts about he didn't get all he wanted on the wall, and he didn't get DACA, and he was venting his frustration. It could be part of a strategy. I'm not sure. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I think it would be hard at this time for him to, giving the assurances that they've made over the last several days, to veto this bill and shut down government.
You know, Secretary, there's been a great deal of turnover in the White House staff with General McMaster now, and John Bolton potentially coming in, and I could go on and on some of the names in the revolving door. I believe in the case of Ambassador Bolton, he would be the third or fourth a national security advisor this president's had in a little more than a year. Does that turnover worry you? Is it a good thing, a healthy thing?
Well, stability is always good. You need stability, and the American people want to see stability in government. They want to see it in the House, the Senate, and they want to see it at the White House as well. So when you have a lot of this churn, for lack of a better word, of personnel, it sends a message to the American people, why can't you get your team in place and keep it in place? And so I don't think it's good, and it's healthy, and it's unhealthy, and I think a healthy environment would be a little more stability. Freeze your team. He's entitled to his team. He was elected president, and trust his team and go forward with the team that he picks. And just because you get frustrated with him over one particular thing doesn't mean you replace the team or members of the team. I think, frankly, Neil, that General McMaster done a good job, as National Security Advisor. I think General Kelly's doing a great job as Chief of Staff, and I think they bring stability to the White House, and I think they are a counterbalance to the president. And I think it's very healthy. And I hope General Kelly stays a long time, and I hope that that stability, we see a little more stability out of the White House.
Yeah, I mean, the General Kelly, he's a source of some rumors too, by the way. But don't want to get too distracted with that. But Secretary, I am a little curious about what you think about the tariffs. The argument has been, and the president's argument has been, you know, my predecessors, Republican and Democrat, have tried to play nice with the Chinese and hope that they would change their ways. They never do. I'm going to do this. You say what?
Well, it's obvious that China has a vision of being the greatest economy in the world, and they have a long-term vision. And you've got to be a counterbalance to that. You can't disrupt our entire economy or theirs, but on the other hand, you've got to make sure that there's a fair playing field in China, just as there is in the United States. And I think, frankly, a lot of people believe that the rules in China are different than they are in the U.S., and it's harder to get and do business in China. And I say that having been on the boards of some companies that have done business in China, to do business in China than it is for the Chinese to do business in the U.S. So I think we need parity. I don't know that tariffs are the best way to get there, but we just can't let the Chinese run all over us.
All right. Secretary, real pleasure seeing you again.